pretend it's overboard and selfish all. No, I know the dirty word.
Hello everyone, welcome back into the channel. Hello. Got something special for y'all today. Gonna do a preview today, then I got another preview tomorrow. I want to also talk a little bit about the Newcastle performance and the match there. Just what is the problem? There's a poll in the chat right now, so if you are watching live on the YouTube, make sure you vote in the poll. What is the biggest issue at Tottenham right now? Is it this current crop of players? Is it years of mismanagement? Is it Tommy two-touch tactics? Or is it an amalgamation of all the above? Let me know your thoughts and we'll check that in just a little bit, but make sure you are liking, subscribing, all that fun stuff. I've got Big Bertha here, and as you know, as I showed you the first 30 seconds of the show, we've got a partnership with jerseysfcsoccershop.com, so go ahead and head on. The link is in the description of this video, so click that at your at the checkout. Use the discount code JacobW, get 20% off and free shipping worldwide. So wherever you're at. And speaking of wherever you're at, I never know where this man's going to be, where he was, and where he might be. But we've got him here live tonight on the channel. Can't even get him on his own channel, but we can get him on this channel. We've got Chelsea rep, Chelsea legend, I might say, Ahmed from the Bridge Nation. Yeah, man. How you doing?
Hi, man. How are you doing, guys? Hope you're having a wonderful day today.
Hang on, let me get you back in the penitentiary, the Jed Spence penitentiary.
Yeah, man.
Hang on, there you
He's
go.
definitely locked me up, that's for sure. But you know what? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having a wonderful day today, man. Listen, really interested to talk about Chelsea and, the team up north, as I like to call them.
Oh wait, I was gonna do this when I welcomed you in. Let me welcome in Ahmed from the Bridge.
Hey! Oh my God, we did the Marshall thing. No need for the claps, man.
Well, StreamYard now, they have like 5 little simple sounds. So, when things start getting tense, we could.
Oh wow.
Oh, that more sounds like a song. I use this one for a boingo. But hey, we move. Look, obviously you guys have Cardiff in the next round. You guys won. Who did you play? I forgot.
We played Wolverhampton Wanderers.
I guess they're wandering themselves right on out of the cup, huh?
Well, they're wondering themselves right out of the Premier League too. These guys were 3-0 down by the end of the first half. They were down 2-0 by 20 minutes. And from rewatching the game, because I fell asleep after 2-0, we then decided to collapse for a little bit. We kept at 3-2. The lap came on, got a red card, and then Gittin said, "I'm gonna finish it myself with a super move." So,
well, I think it was a good finish from Gittins. I watched the highlights. Obviously, I think you kicked off about 15 minutes before we did. So I'm not going to assume that you saw the Tottenham game, but you've seen Tottenham performances throughout the season, and I think that the game for me was kind of what we've seen this season in that regard. It's been some good build-up play out of the back. I think there's about 5 times yesterday I could remember where we were building it from the back and we actually ended up in the final third of our opponents. And then it was Brennan Johnson or Richarlison or insert Tottenham striker forward here, and they're going to let you down. We just seem to keep piling up injuries. Let me ask you this little intro question. This is a little humdinger, so bear with me now, Ahmed.
all right.
When it was last year, and I said, guys, we don't have the players, we don't have the squad depth, and we have all these injuries. Well, how do we adapt to that? And, we still were able to win the Europa League and get Big Bertha into my arms. But now we have injuries, and it's, guys, you got to understand, we don't have a good squad, And it's not, this guy's a bozo. It's these gung-ho tactics, kamikaze, suicide bombers. The mentality and the tactics that they used to say we had. So, Ahmed, from a rival standpoint, I want to know, do you think, first of all, what's your take on injuries impacting overall performances? And second of all, is it a viable excuse at any juncture to use, like in regards to your league performances? Because I would argue Chelsea would be higher in the table if you had Cole Palmer, if you had even Fofana. I saw that door
Yes.
open. It's okay.
Yeah. So all right. So listen.
Don't
I
worry, you're
just-
not on Sky News. It ain't that. It ain't too deep over here.
No. Sorry. He was bringing me. My parcel came, so that's why. So I had to make sure he gave me my stuff.
Oh, your
But,
passport came. Let me see the
oh,
information
my
so I can
parcel. My
screenshot it.
parcel came. My parcel's come. My parcel.
Oh,
A little bit of something.
okay. I don't know what that was, but
I'll show it
I've
to you
been
later.
playing. I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima. So that's
Oh,
been
it's
fun.
a very good game. No, it's like an old school Jessica Jones. Like I remember being
Okay.
No, but on a serious note, obviously, listen. I think with Spurs and I know you comment in general. I think the thing is, if we look up again back in the Ange era, as we got to call it, or the mini era, let's just call it like that too. It was only 2 years. I think a lot of it was because I think the previous season to Ange, obviously, there was a lot of injuries that had come because of his style of play. So I think naturally there was like a natural assumption that it was the way he was playing the football, right, which was causing, which of course to an extent was true, right. And I think also, particularly finished top four the previous season, if I'm not mistaken, right. And so there was obviously a natural pressure there from a lot of people that are like, listen, Spurs should be doing better, etc., etc. You've got a better squad. You've brought good players in, and that was the fault. I think because of what's happened last season, right? I think there's been this. I think a lot of your players have been seen for what they are. If I'm going to be honest, Richarlison is not a good player, bro. He's not fit to play for Tottenham Football Club. Bernard Johnson, you should never have spent 50 million on him. Yes, I know he's won your Europa League.
55.
55 million. Yes, I understand that he won the Europa League of that goal and everything like that, but realistically, he's not fit enough to be a player for your team. Odegaard is always going to be like a work in progress, right? So, but in general, a lot of the signings that you did make the previous season aren't good enough, in my personal opinion. And so you're in this kind of conundrum of where, yes, you want rubbish enough to finish 17th last season, but at the same time, is the squad which is continuously losing players at the rate it's losing, right? Right, is that good enough to maybe finish to the level that maybe Spurs fans are thinking about, which is top four? I don't know if you've got a squad good enough to finish in the top four. I'll be honest with you, mate. And I also think I think Spurs fans are judging Thomas Frank a bit too harshly, in my personal opinion. Thomas Frank was a mid-table manager for quite a long time. Like, okay, this guy still needs to learn the game in terms of like going to the next level. It's not gonna come to him straight away. That's one thing I will say. He may be able to finish top four come the end of the season, or sometimes the only way to finish top four is to get a nice little run, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, and you basically secure yourself top four in the current Premier League. That's the way it goes. You know this, I know this. So again, I think we should give Thomas Frank some time. I think we're being a little bit unfair to Thomas Frank as well.
Yeah, and I like to try to sprinkle some salt onto any dish that I order.
Fair enough.
In regards to assessing Thomas Frank in his first 13 matches so far,
Exactly.
it's been some good, some bad, but overall, much kind of what I expected. I mean, we're sitting in third in the league. If we fail to get any points versus Chelsea, you will, I believe, overtake us, or we might go down to point differential at that point. So, to me, getting bounced out of the cup just signifies everything I've always said in regards to Ange Postecoglou and every manager who preceded that four-letter name. Because last year when I was saying that this squad's not good enough, Thomas Frank has a better squad right now, in my opinion. Is it deep enough to compete in 4 different competitions, 2 of them being the biggest competitions in the world? No, I don't think so. And the same to be said with Ange Postecoglou. That's why I felt like you put emphasis on one department, i.e. Europa League last year, and then you could see the results of that. And obviously, I think the last 4 games of the season didn't really even matter in anyone's perspective, and you could see that by the way the team played. So these are all numbers that like to get used when they say bad things about Ange Postecoglou. But for me, I see it as like, how can we compete in the Carabao Cup? We didn't get bounced out the first round, which is better than Ange's first year, mind you. But we did get bounced out the second round to Premier League competition. And it was at St. James Park, which, statistically, we've just never really been good at. So I'm not overall like super upset to get bounced out the competition like that because again we are sitting third in the league. However, that can change very very drastically on Saturday, my birthday to be specific, November 1st. I'll be turning 35, and Chelsea will be without Liam Delap as he picked up a red card versus the Wolverhampton Wanderers. I was watching the highlight of that, and it's pretty cynical. Pretty cynical, and it was a second yellow instead of a straight red, so he's only going to miss the one match, I believe, and that will be Tottenham Hotspur this weekend. So you get him in the next round of the competition as well. So not all bad. I was a little concerned with him coming back. I think you have a bona fide striker, not a Mark Gui, in front of João Pedro. You'll get a lot better out of João Pedro. I think that obviously Cole Palmer missing is a big miss for you guys. In my humble opinion, he's probably the top 5 player in the league, given any position. And for me, I had very high predictions of him and for Chelsea this year that you quite frankly haven't really lived up to. And I want to ask you, what is your thoughts on Maresca? How have you seen him thus far? I mean, obviously you've had over a season of him now. You won the Club World Cup in the summer. This season's been some up, some down. Beating Liverpool, losing to Sunderland. It's long times. But are you hitting the panic button with Enzo Maresca? Where do you kind of see that bald fraud at?
Fair enough. What
You
I
like
would
that
say
little
to
jab
you,
right there at the end?
that was a good one. That was a good one. That was funny.
Hey.
That's why I laughed. Listen, you gotta respect good jokes. But no, on a serious note, you know me, bro. Yeah, I'm a bit different to maybe my fellow Chelsea co-host that you met me on a certain Waffle channel. If you know, you know. You know what I mean? Some of them
You're
were
talking
saying
about casually Bentancur FC and RSM maybe will stream TV.
That's correct. No, but I know some of, I think a lot of Chelsea fans, a good extent of them, were thinking we're gonna compete for the title a bit more, gonna be a bit more competitive for it, and kind of like have a big explosion this season, right? And I was a bit more of the hesitant type. I was saying probably third or fourth again this season, fighting for top 4, and a bit more in my personal opinion. Was when I think this season for me was more about player growth, consistency in terms of winning games, right? And at the end of the day, making sure we can, a lot of these new young players we're bringing in can be developed, can be improved, so that we've got a good, strong squad. Hopefully next year and the year after, where we can do that competing phase per se. But I think right now, if you look at Chelsea, there's like a big problem where defensively, Aaron Acheampong has shown good moments. Fofana, who has started to get back into form. If you're playing Tosin and Chalobah in that team, you are defensively a major liability. You know what I mean? In this defensive world, a defensive liability. That also includes Sanchez in terms of even though this season has been a bit more consistent, a lot more less mistakes, he's still prone to making that mistake happen, every 1 and 2 to 3 games, right? Which also does not help you out as well. And so that back line, barring your 2 fullbacks really, in Reece James and Correa, got in trouble, right? Acheampong is still prone to making mistakes because he's still a young lad. He's been playing consistently well for us. Let's not get twisted. But that is the main problem for us right now. And then I think on the other side of the aisle, right, you don't have Cole Palmer, obviously. I think the manager does not want to play some of these younger players a bit more as well going forward. Even though he started to use Mark Gui now as a starting striker, Esteval's not really been playing consistently as a starter when I think he should be over Pedro Neto. Even Jamie Gittins, I think, has a strong argument now, considering the way he's been playing, right, to start being implemented into the first team over a Garnacho, who also hasn't been performing well and I still think needs to embed into the team. I just feel like I look at a lot of the stuff, it's just that we're inconsistent defensively, but at the same time, when that happens, you want to rely on your attack to pull you through. That's the way you do it. I always say Liverpool 2018, 19. The thing that pulled them through was their attack, bro. Their defense, bro, was trash. They had Lovren and Loris Karius, or it was Steven Mignolet, if you remember at the time, right? And that's the way you kind of survive. The attack does the job for me. But at Chelsea, you can't do that because our attack is inconsistent. You got João Pedro, who's apparently injured, that we're still playing. I don't understand that logic, in my personal opinion, by the way, right? I think one of the things I am a little bit worried about Maresca is a bit too much short-termism going on, right? I would rather lose João Pedro until he's fully fit, and ready for me, maybe in beginning of December, where I know I've got 3 games a week coming up then, because as you and I know, that's the Christmas period. That's when football in the Premier League ramps up. We've got 3 games a week, right? Why am I not thinking about that medium to long term? We're doing that for for Cole Palmer, which is rightly so we should be doing. We should also be doing that for a guy that's we brought for a lot of money. He's going to be a starter for the team too. Same with Caicedo. Caicedo's apparently playing through injury. You've got Enzo Fernandez playing through injury. Let these guys stay out, recover from these injuries, and come back when they're fully fit. Because we
How
need
much do you think those injuries are down, or playing through those injuries specifically? How much of that do you think is down to the manager versus the physio staff saying he's good to go and the player? I feel like most players, 90% of them, will probably say even if they're at 80%, they'd rather start than not start. Especially given that
No,
it is
I
a
hear
World
that,
Cup
but like
year.
he's
But
telling you, like for example, Jack Bridges only having 1 to 2 training sessions per week, bro. So clearly, this is that is a problem, right? That is a problem. Now, listen, I always have this debate with my fellow Chelsea co-host and teammate, Mr. Marshall DBDX all the time, yeah. And he's like, listen, players are always gonna get injured and everything like that, which is fair. But when this guy's only training once or twice a week, I'm not sure we can call that, we're playing through injury, mate. That's just, we've beaten a dead horse at that point. You know what I mean? That's what I always say. That's like, we're slapping a dead horse, trying to get him to wake up, but the brother's dead, bro. Give it up. And if you
well, in Maresca's defense, who else does he have to play? Because this is something I defended Ange Postecoglou for. It's like
and
whenever Chelsea came up last season, he rushed Van de Ven and Romero back. Because, in my opinion, a lot of people were saying this could be his last game in charge. And if it's your last game in charge, or potentially you feel that it could be coming up, wouldn't you use every last little bit of strength that you have? And that's, in my opinion, who do you have that Andre Santos?
This is a good question.
You sold Carney Chukwuemeka to Dortmund, and he's a decent.
Brilliant
Amari
question.
Hutchinson's another one that could have played there that you don't have anymore. So, like,
this is a brilliant question. Brilliant question. I'm going to answer this question for you. You had obviously, for example, Andre Santos, Romeo Lavia, right? You got to start playing some of these other guys into the team. I think with Chelsea, right, the big thing they've shown us is that you brought in young guys. The reality is that's your current availability, bro. And I will listen. I think for me, it'd be wrong of me to criticize the manager for saying he's using young players when I know that's available for. I'm saying use the young players, bro. I'm advocating for that because that's currently what our club model is, to use these young players, to improve these young players, and to do so. So I'm only saying just follow the club model. I'll be real with you. And you can't go wrong using the club model, right? Because at the end of the day, what they'll be like, you can go back to them and be like, listen, you gave me these players, these guys are young, and you've asked me to implement them. I've had no choice to implement them because our starters are injured. So there's nothing wrong with that, in my personal opinion.
Fair enough. Directing the conversation back to Tottenham a little bit, specifically the 3 additions to the starting 11 that we made in the summer, in my opinion, Xavi Simons, Mohamed Kudus, and João Palhinha have been 3 players that really have been João Palhinha is arguably one of our best scorers, and he has been an anchor at the 6 for us. Mickey Van de Ven's scoring a bunch of goals as well. I think he's now tied in the Premier League with Victor Gyökeres and who was the other guy from Liverpool? There's some guy from Liverpool. I have a bookmark on it, but there's a couple names of players, attacking players specifically, that Van de Ven's on pace with as far as goals are considered. And he's a central defender for us and much been our captain. I expect him to start. I don't think we'll have Romero, but he could be available at some amount of fitness. I don't know, but he hasn't played the last 4 games, something like that. So I wouldn't expect Romero to start. I do expect. I think it was maybe Verts or Isak. Yeah, Macaroni. I don't know, one of them. But I'll look for it in a minute. But Ahmed, let me ask you this. What's your assessment on those 3 players so far from what you've seen? Xavi Simons has come under a lot of scrutiny lately. People say GA, they say this, that. And other people on Twitter, would argue that was his best game most recently versus Newcastle. He was linking up play. He was dropping back, winning the ball. He was starting the attacks in senses, but we just, couldn't get the final shot off or the final pass in the final third. But, I don't blame Xavi Simons for the lack of efficiency from Brendan Johnson. Richarlison. He's played with Odegaard and Tell. I think yesterday specifically it was Tell who started, if I'm not mistaken. So, he doesn't really have the best of tools around him. Mohamed Kudus for me is the only reason we're in third, quite frankly. We've been relying on him since the preseason, and I remember saying it's got to rely on more than just him because if something happens to Kudus, and by the way, 2 matches consecutively in 3 days where Kudus has been tackled in a red card fashion, and neither one have resulted in a red card for the opponent. Hoa Linton, he should be in the fucking penitentiary as far as I'm concerned, and whatever that dude's name for that team that we play. He as well trying to break a leg there of Mohamed Kudus. I can't even remember his name, but it was some white guy. He's a fraud and he can hold that. But that's my take on Kudus, our best player. Really, the only thing that we have going forward as far as looking dangerous. And then, João Palhinha as well has been one of our best, if not the best player of the season so far for Tottenham. He's scoring goals. He's winning the ball back deep. He's putting in a hell of a shift. So I'll be honest, it's kind of a tough one for me to choose between who's been more instrumental for us, Palhinha or Kudus, but luckily both of them have been doing very well for us. Just a little bit concerned about this midfield. Sarr not getting minutes, not getting starts. He did start, however, versus Newcastle, in which we did eventually lose.
Has it been Bissouma? I'm assuming it's been Bissouma on things.
No,
right?
Bissouma was late, and he has not been even on the bench.
So,
And now he's injured. He got injured from Mali. Bentancur, Paulinho, and sometimes Bergval, sometimes Xavi, sometimes. So it's kind of been. And yesterday at St. James, it was Sarr, Bentancur. I can't think of who else. There was another game where it was Archie Gray. It really just seems like Thomas Frank is still trying to figure out what his best midfield looks like. And for me, I go back to best performances from the season so far, and one of them was probably versus West Ham when we had Sarr, Bergval, and Paulinho, and Xavi Simon's on the left, which is interesting because for me, I think Xavi Simon's best work will come whenever he's working centrally. So it's a tough one to really try and defend or attack either way because for me, coming from the Bundesliga, there's always going to be that natural jump up and physicality, number one, and then just overall technical ability and pace of the game. And the Premier League is synonymous with being one of the best, if not the best, in that regard. So I struggle with accepting that this is how bad we are. I feel like we can be better. And, you step back, you look at the table, and we're like 5 points off of top, which is, overall not too bad. But from your standpoint, obviously 2 of those players I named were linked with Chelsea at one point or another. And for one point or another, respectively, they both did not happen. For you, why did those not happen to Chelsea? Did they just get rejected like it was Tinder and they got swiped left? Or did y'all not need them or want them? Because looking at your injuries and with João Pedro, allegedly playing through injury, someone like Xavi Simons would probably be a good signing right about now to have in your lineup. So
it seems we've got, like, obviously, as you know, we went above UEFA PSR, and I think that's affected us being able to buy Xavi Simons, and that's why he's actually come to a club. I think with Kudus, I think it was a bit more. I think it seems to be a bit more about positions. I think like where he was going to play in the team compared to maybe which apparently has been the issue. So again, that's probably been the 2 reasons. I think again, Kudus was a good buy. I think he's a solid player. I think for me with him, it's a bit more about Gio with him, right? He's got to be able to score more. I think for me with him, you need a guy that's going to be a bit more of a scorer here. I think Richarlison is not going to be able to score goals. I don't think he's that much inefficient. He's going to be quite inefficient, in my personal opinion. He's a volume scorer, much like as I used to say about Timo Werner, the volume scorer. You need to give him way too many chances for him to score. And I don't think you're in a position anymore in the Premier League to be able to do that for a guy like him. So I think fundamentally, you need to find a way to make. I think fundamentally, I think you need to make Kudus more sort of scorer here. And that's one thing I would probably be critical about him. Other than that, I think he's played really well for you. I think he's been a steady Eddie. I think he's been consistent and everything of the sort. I think the second thing I'd probably say about when it comes to Xavi Simons, I'm actually interested in like where he's playing because like I feel like the manager, it seems, as you said, that he's trying to find like a balance of his midfield. Like I don't know if he feels like because like he's got Saar obviously, and I feel like I don't know. Does he want his midfield to be like a workman midfield, like almost like Liverpool, where you've got obviously Paulinia, Pape Matar, and then maybe it would have probably been Basuma. That would have been like what I call like the workman midfield. You've got two box to boxes that are like they're gonna run non-stop on the side of each other. That's gonna be able to grab the ball. And then you've got Paulinia there who's almost like an extra layer of defense, right, in terms of interceptions and being able to maybe be a bit more aggressive and read the game a bit more, right? The other thing I would also make a mention of is that I think him using Bergvall is because I think Bergvall can be a good eight. He's a good attacking eight in the sense that he will give you a lot defensively. Which I'm pretty sure you would agree with, right? Like he's always going back for the ball. And I think going forward, Bergvall's a very good player. I'm pretty sure you would agree, right? He's a very good young talent, at least going forward too. So I like that. But I think with Javi Simmons, it's just about I feel like you have to play him in the 10. If you want him to work, it has to be the 10, bro. And I think for me, that's where you got to play him. And I feel like also it's about the chemistry. Like I think if you look at the guys that you've got around him, a lot of these guys need to be, inside forwards. It's Odegaard, who's been playing, I think, on the wing. I know about obviously what's the other guy, the Welsh brother, Brennan Johnson, right? That you've got there too. Are these guys good inside forwards too, right? Like, because listen, when you talk a lot about vision, right? It's all well and good, right? That we can say, can you bring these guys into the game? But if these guys making the right runs too, right? Because that's what you need, like with some of these players too. If these guys can make good runs, I think he can probably play a bit more. But at the same time, himself, he needs to make sure he keeps his head up, and actually finds these guys too at the same time if they make runs too.
And that's the thing. It's for me. I agree completely with the best from Xavi will be from the 10. Again, I go back to the most recent performance versus Newcastle. There was times in which he progressed the ball well, dished it out to the Brennan Johnson, the Welsh brother, as you like to call him, and he fluffed it. Then there was one time he found Brennan Johnson, and Brennan Johnson could have had an assist if Richarlison was just a little bit better of a striker. And you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, which was Richarlison's lack of ability. I think Frank actually did by name mention that he was late to get into certain positions on a couple there. So overall, I still, losing a match, it's stinky. Everyone's laughing at me. You see the group chat starts going off. Everyone, are you live, laugh, laughing, live, love, live, love, laughing and loving and all the fucking dreaming a little dream of me. And I've always said that not once has Thomas lied to us. Now, I did see, just on a side note, I did see there was this little sneaky link between us and Mason Greenwood, which would prove Thomas Frank to be a liar if we did, seriously try to.
I'll be honest with you, mate. There's zero chance you're gonna get him. Don't worry, man. You'll be alright.
I agree.
He's never come in England. I'm gonna be honest with you. That guy is never touching football in England. Maybe I listen to.
I don't think they'd let him land the plane. They'd find out what flight he's on. They ain't letting that motherfucker land. He ain't gonna touch soil. But
I do think that Italy, that's the one league where I could top team. Yeah, they'll definitely play him.
For sure.
Probably play.
And as you've seen, Spain will play him as well. But I just see it a few different ways. Like Thomas hasn't really lied thus far. He kind of said that we are going to lose games, and he also said the first thing he's going to work on is shoring up the defense. Now, obviously, that wasn't really the case versus Newcastle, but there has been performances where we've gotten clean sheets, whereas previous years we weren't able to keep a clean sheet. We did also get the first victory away at Everton at the Hill Dickinson. William Dickinson? Is that Dick Dickinson? No, that's Richard. Never mind. But there's, I'm not. Obviously, it is he when I see the lineup, and then it's he when I watch the 90 minutes, and afterwards I'm pretty frustrated. I'm not going to lie. Like some of these performances have been pretty frustrating. The 3-0 win versus Everton, I still, at the end of it, felt like when we were up 2-0, we were chasing a goal. It felt like we were down one. We drew versus Wolves, and other teams have just handled them pretty easily. And some of these results are worrying, but also a lot of it is I still understand that when you change managers, you're going to have this kind of period. And, people like to say Frank's a mid-table manager, this and that. That's just kind of where he has been. And I think that the foundations at Brentford can't be overstated as well. And you come to a place like Tottenham, the foundations are You go to that physio room, it is a metaphorical black hole. We don't know when you will return, or if you ever will return. So when Dominic Solanke goes out, my foot hurts. I need to watch anime and get married. And then I see Jamal Musiala is now training, and there was literal bone protrusion from his leg, but he has less of a recovery time than Dominic Solanke. I got to point fucking fingers at Spurs physio department that you know. But that's another story for another day because I don't like to think about the physio department too much because that year and after year they just continually I don't know, they kidnap these players, hold them for ransom. I don't really know what they do with them, but we don't see them for a while. Um, there's something I did want to ask you about, and that is, how do you see Enzo Maresca setting up for this match? Because when I try to predict what I think we're gonna look like, it, we look either the personnel I get right and the tactics wrong, or vice versa, and I kind of just don't really know what to expect. I thought that there was this major adaptability from Thomas Frank that I've seen versus PSG, and that's about it.
I'm gonna. I need to actually need to head out because I forgot that I had another stream planned too with one of my Chelsea mates, which I have to go to after this. But I'm gonna tell you the Chelsea lineup quite easily. It will be Sanchez in goal, Correa. It will probably be a Chempong and Tosin, or it will be sorry, it will be a Chalaba, so Trevor Chalaba, a Chempong, and then it will be no, will Fana play though? I don't know. I don't think so. So then it will be Reece James. So it'll be Reece James, Chempong, and Trevor Chalaba and Mark Correa. Caicedo and Enzo will definitely play. It'll be João Pedro and Gui, and it'll be Garnacho and Pedro Neto. That'll be a starting 11 for Chelsea.
Okay, and I guess we're over 30 minutes, so I could probably wrap it up there. But I want to get your score predictions. Remember, it is my birthday. Are you going to be kind to me on my birthday, or
I
are you
actually
going to
think,
do?
listen, I think there's a good chance that you could win in terms of like, if you, because I know you've been quite dominant set pieces. And if you watch the game yesterday against Chelsea, mate, we were, I was going to say sexual innuendo there, but, I'm going to just relax, go
You know
relax a
what
little bit.
channel you are on, right? It's totally acceptable here.
Oh, fair enough then. Listen, we've been getting blacked on those set pieces, quite literally. There's
Hey, you
literally
about
another
to
way to
get
put it.
dutched by Mickey
Oh,
Van de Veen.
jeez, Louis. Yeah, exactly, man. We're about to get Dutch. So, listen, that could be like a very magical concern. But I do think, obviously, with the fixtures and everything, I'll probably say 2-1 Chelsea. I think will probably be like a really tight game.
Okay. Do you think that you guys are going to have more of the ball? Are you going to allow us to play with the ball and
I
then
think
do
it
nothing
depends.
with it like we
I
do?
think listen, Thomas Frank has had our number for quite a while, right? In terms of like the way he plays. So he may decide to give you the possession, Chelsea the possession. And because obviously the attackers we've got currently, Pedro Neto and everyone else, right, aren't 100% good enough, like, or very inconsistent, I'd probably say, which is the better term to use. Like he might be like, I can beat them on the counter on a set piece. There's no point in me having the ball. Which I think if he's smart, that's probably what he will do. That's actually like a very logical approach, in my personal opinion, too, to beat Chelsea.
Okay. Well, and this is my final question. You got a 2-1 for Chelsea. I've got a prediction tomorrow, a prediction show coming up with Marshall Casually FC. Might dual stream that, so it might be here or just the community tab, not sure. But I'll keep you guys updated. We'll be back tomorrow with that. I got a final question for you here, and it is the poll in the chat for YouTube. What do you think Tottenham's biggest issues are, Ahmed? The four options I chose from are years of poor squad building, Tommy Frankie tactics, the current crop of players, or all the above,
Thomas, thank you. That's what you're going with.
Is that what you're going with?
Yes, indeed. I'm going to choose that.
Well, the chat has officially voted 40% all of the above. So that is the winner of the polls, all of the above. In second place, we have years of poor squad building. Third place, Tommy Frankie tactics, and 12% says the current crop of players. My personal opinion, I'm just going to say it's all the above. I feel like the current crop of players have let the manager down. I feel like the manager's tactics have let us down and the players down. And I feel like the club has let us down year after year with poor squad building. And we're seeing finally, I guess, we're trying to fix that. We've spent big on young players and we've got a couple of targets that I actually quite frankly, Ahmed, I'll admit this: when Chelsea were linked with Kudus and Xavi Simons, I pretty much wrote it off like, guess I gotta hate them now. So that sucks. But
you never know. Xavi
you know.
Simons might be waiting for this game, man, because he could have been at Chelsea, right? Because he's waiting for us. So you never know. Maybe he decides to have like a.
Maybe this is when he gets his GA. That's what I'm talking about. 2 goals, 1 assist, 2 assists, 1 goal. Come on. I'm going with a 3-1 Tottenham Hotspur. Xavi Simon's involved in all of it. Can't spell Xavi Simons without Moans. And everybody's going to be saying that on the following Monday on American Waffle. But look, man, thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time as always. No one says this, but I'm going to say they all say this man's got the $1 million smile like a Cheshire cat from Alice in Wonderland. Wow, but Ahmed, big up. Thanks for joining. I was going to ask when you're live on your channel next, but I'm pretty sure you're beefing with your channel. Is that the case?
I'm not really beefing my channel per se. It's just that I've not been doing a lot of recording in terms of that. I've been doing a lot of like work on like the other app recently, which I'm on, and which is in partnership with Sky Sports, the financial stuff. You can catch me actually on Saturday 7:30. I will be on 7:30. Make sure to tune in. Analysis. I'm still reviewing the game. Hopefully we win the game, and they're not asking me some weird questions at about is Maresca getting sacked or something like that. But at the end of the day, listen.
I know I said last question, but do you see if you lose in my prediction 3-1? Let's say you hypothetically lose 3-1. Does Maresca have a job? Your next competition?
He will have a job. I think. Listen. I think personally, I know Marshall said that they're probably going to do the evaluation in the season, which I understand, which I think is a very logical approach. But I think what's probably going to happen is that if we start getting a bit, squeaky bum time for top 4, then I think it'll probably be Maresca out then. I really do think, because I think that's the main difference.
Okay, fair enough. Well, again, go check him out there at the Bridge Nation, or if you live in the UK, you can watch him live on TV with his new partnership with Sky Sports. Or wait, what'd you say, skybet.com?
BET. Jeez Louise, mate. Wow.
Sky Bet, bro. Sky Bet. Don't do that. No. Don't do that.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Hey.
Bro, her BET. Excuse-moi. Big up, man. Always a laugh. Always good to chat with you. And hopefully you've got something better for me than your prediction. Big up Becky in the chat. Big up Prodigy in the chat. Everyone in the chat. Dry Rose Peanut. I've seen you here. Just tried to keep the conversation flowing so that way I didn't interrupt my guests too much. Trying to do the hosting thing a little bit more aficionado. But hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll be back tomorrow with another preview with some more Chelsea folks. And then also, I don't know if Sunday I'll go live or my birthday night I'll go live after like my day of celebration, which by day of celebration will be cleaning poop off my kids.
I just went onto the other stream and I can hear Jimmy shouting in my ears. Oh my God.
Jimmy's yelling. Oh yeah, you about to walk into a fucking gunfight over there with Jimmy. Shout out Jimmy Spliff, man. Appreciate that, Becky. Yeah, I'll be turning 35 on Saturday, so hopefully Tottenham don't let me down.
Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday, honestly, man.
I appreciate that.
One of the greatest, one of the funniest guys I've ever met, honestly. WJ.
Hey, I appreciate that. And you know what? I've got the I've got 100 ways I can send you off, but there's only one correct way to send you off. So if you haven't yet, hit a like and subscribe on the video. If you're watching on playback, you are sexy, and I believe in you to accomplish all the things you set forth. But this last little bit is for you. Stay blessed, stay fresh, up the lads. Be kind to yourself and be kind to someone else today. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Damn, I'm on my Britney shit. Oops, I hit again. Damn, I'm on my DJ Khaled shit. We the best.